Pettyjohn, and this is Follow the Leader Homeschool Education. Hey everybody, welcome to Follow the Leader Homeschool Education. I'm so glad that you're taking time out of your day to be here with me. Today we're going to talk about transitioning from the school year into summer. But before we jump into that, I just want to remind you that we've changed formats a little bit, and instead of releasing episodes every other week, we've chosen to release shorter episodes every week. So I'm hoping that as busy moms and dads, that gives you more of a chance to press pause, maybe while the kids are outside playing or they're having lunch, jump on here. You can listen to a full episode. And always my hope is that it's a source of encouragement to you. So make sure you set a reminder every Wednesday morning. You can jump on here and catch a brand new episode with all new content and information. And as an encouragement to me, if you guys could continue sharing with your friends, even press pause right now. It will take a few seconds. Copy the link, share it with a friend, share it on your social media. I would appreciate it so much. As I was looking over some of our analytics, I see that I actually have a lot of listeners in St. Louis, a lot in Kansas City. So that shows me that the reach is growing. I want to keep expanding it because I want to encourage homeschool families all across the area. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about jumping into a summer routine. So usually for homeschoolers, our summer break starts a lot sooner than the traditional public school child. So we have more of a break. We actually had our last week of school. I think it was 3 weeks ago. It might have been 2. I think it was 3 weeks ago. But just because our community day stops does not mean that our schoolwork stops. So I really don't like to call it a summer schedule. I like to call it a summer rhythm because rhythms can change. As you know, as a parent, as an educator, it's going to change. Not every week's going to look the same. Not every day is going to look the same, but having some sort of structure is so critical for your kids because every child, I don't care what their personality type is, every child thrives with some sort of structure around their day. It doesn't have to equal chaos. I always cringe a little when I see moms posting things about the summer, like counting down the days until they're back in school or how they're going to eat me out of house and home. And I know it's said kind of tongue in cheek, kind of jokingly, but man, what an amazing opportunity we have during the summer to really invest in things that maybe we didn't have time to get to during the school year. So I want to encourage you to maintain some structures, but really allow them the freedom to explore things that they've been expressing interest in. And you know those things because they've been driving you crazy about them. They're bringing them up multiple times a day. Can we do this? Can we do this? Can I try this? I want to do this. So what I have done is I've just started a list in my phone. Because sure enough, those things are going to come to mind at 12:30 at night or while I'm driving or sometime when I don't have time to implement it right then, but I can make a note of it in my phone so that I know to come back to it at a later time. Something kind of silly that my kids have been talking a lot about is mom bucks. So I don't know what you do for chores or allowance, but Reed has been really into reading the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series lately. And so the mom in that book, she gives the kids mom bucks, which is pretty much Monopoly money. And then they can turn it in at the end of the week for a prize or for cash. And so they have been on my case about when can we do mom bucks? Can we start it? I want to do it. So we finally started it. It's been a lot of fun. It's just something different. It holds their attention. It helps them actually to jump in and motivated to help around the house. So I'm going to tell you just a few things that I have on my list that I want to get back into this summer. Something that we've done as a family in the past that the kids really enjoy is just like themed dinner nights. It does not have to be elaborate. Really, it's just making a memory. So one that I think of right off the top of my head is we did a fancy night and we turned off the lights and we did candles and everybody wore a really nice outfit and we had spaghetti and, they had their glasses and it was so fun. The kids still talk about it. Another really fun one was we all do taco night and we do it often, probably once a week around our house. We all took eyeliner and we just drew like little mustaches on our faces and we played music from the movie Coco and it was a blast. We still have videos from it. So I want to do more themed nights. They've been asking to learn how to make their own sushi. So like I said, it does not have to be elaborate and it doesn't have to be every week. Maybe plan a couple of those during the summer. What you don't want to do is you don't want to overdo it. I love the chalkboards with like all of the summer activity plans, but it's like, we're going to do an outdoor movie night. We're going to do a swimming party and we're going to do, and sometimes to a mom, it can start to feel very overwhelming and it loses that sense of adventure and fun because it becomes another list. And we have so many lists already that we're trying to check off. So don't make your summer adventure list become a summer to-do list. Something else that I really want to jump into this summer with the kids is spending more time learning about great artists. So we're going to spend some time painting. We actually went to the store the other day. Hot tip. If you're not aware, Ross has really great art supplies and they're really cheap. We got great alcohol markers and really nice colored pencils, some canvases, and I think we got out of there for like $30. So I want to spend some time studying great artists. We're going to try to replicate some of their paintings and that'll just be something fun for us to do together. That's something that spans a wide variety of ages too. So we've talked about that in past episodes, is finding activities that you can do because a lot of homeschool families have kids in a variety of stages. Not only that, but you've got boys and girls and their interests and hobbies are different. So finding things that they can do together is always a win. Something that a mom in my homeschool community brought up that they did that I thought was really fun. And she gave each kid a piece of like brown butcher paper. And then she had them draw kind of like an aerial view of their home. So it would be the house. And then, oh, maybe we have like chickens over here. Or we've got our swing set over here. So they're going to kind of sketch that out and make like a map of sorts. And then she would use those to make like a little treasure map for the kids. So mom could do that or siblings could do it for each other. They could do a little X marks the spot and just have, a little treasure when they read the map and find what they're looking for. So, and then again, that's map reading skills. So a lot of these things are counting for school. You can definitely count them for hours, but it feels like fun, but it's learning. So if your family is like ours, we really like staying up late. I would say we definitely have more night owls in our family than early birds, but I would encourage you to go ahead and keep a schedule in the mornings. Have your kids go ahead and set an alarm. Get up at a consistent time every day so that you don't completely lose that rhythm during the summer because it can be really hard to get back on track this fall, which will be here before you know it. So if we're sticking to somewhat of a general schedule and then preparing your kids the day before, if you know that you've got a really hectic day of errands coming up, or if you know, hey, it's going to be a chill day, or hey, it's going to be a work around the house day, let's try to give them some prep the night before so that when they wake up, they're not blindsided and they know what to expect. So in your scheduling, if you can keep some consistency during the week, that's such a plus. I was actually just talking to Zoe about how she loved when her family went to the library during the summer. So most libraries have a summer reading program. They'll have like a little chart for your kids. And as they read books, you can check that off and then they can usually turn it in for a prize. So maybe your kids know, hey, every Friday is library day or every Tuesday we go to the playground or the pool. But having those rhythms during the week can be really beneficial. I also want you to remember that you don't have to take a big expensive vacation to have a really great summer with your family. You're going to be bombarded by everyone's pictures to Cabo or Hawaii or all the magical places they're going. And that's great. Like we can be so happy and excited for them and their family, but it doesn't have to take away from what our families get to experience together. I know as I think back to my kids' childhoods and some of our best memories are silly things like spraying each other with a water hose, little moments. That's what's really stuck in my mind. I enjoy trips. I enjoy vacations. They're a lot of fun, but you don't have to provide that for your family for them to have a really memorable, fun summer experience. And actually, as homeschoolers, we know that sometimes taking vacations during the less busy seasons, that's one of the perks. I also really want to encourage you not to underestimate taking time to relax. The Bible talks a lot about the Sabbath, and it was so important to God that it was part of His creation. So it's really good for your kids seeing you take time to just lay in a hammock or just have a day of relaxation, teaching them rhythms of pause and rest because you are going to need time to recharge for the coming year. And summer is a great time for you to get back on track. It's a good time for you to recharge and refresh emotionally and mentally, but it's also a really good time to refresh your homeschool room. So I know I start getting really antsy. It's usually around Valentine's Day. I'm ready to pull everything out. I want to clean everything. I want to throw things away. Haven't done that yet this year, but it needs to happen. So it's a really good time for you to pull out, maybe put missing game pieces and puzzle pieces back in the box. This is something that the kids can get really involved in. If you're like, hey, I've been wanting to, print these morning workbooks, or I really need to label this, or it's a good time to evaluate like, hey, this worked really well for our family last year, but this didn't work so well. So how can we do this differently? Maybe you want to consider a different spot in your home for your homeschool classroom area. For a long time, I had a room that was designated. It was our homeschool room. And no matter how many times I designated a space, the kids always ended up at the dining room table. They always ended up on the couch or outside. Those were their favorite places to learn and study because usually it was near me. I didn't have the liberty of staying in one room all day. So maybe you want to switch it up. I did that last year. I'm not using my homeschool room for that purpose anymore. We're actually just using our dining room. I took their books and most of their supplies in there, and usually we just gather around the dining room table, and that's where most of our studying happens. I think it's really okay for you to have lighter school days, but I would probably stress that no school during the summer is not an option. Studies really show that kids on average will lose 2 to 3 reading levels over the summer if they're not doing some consistent reading. I would say the same for math. You are going to see a regression over the summer, but if you're consistently doing some sort of schoolwork every day, the loss will be a lot less. And then going into that next school year, you can go into it encouraged that you're not having to backtrack and remember, okay, what are our vowels and what are those really basics? So keep the basic things there. Have minimal school days. You can have light school days, but doing some school every day is a really good rhythm to be in. And then I would say to let your kids set some goals. What are some personal goals that they want for themselves? Hey, I want to memorize the states and capitals. I want to get those really solid over the summer. Hey, I want to make sure that my math facts, my multiplication facts are really solid. So talk to them about maybe 1 or 2. It doesn't have to be this big daunting list, but maybe 1 or 2 things that they really want to master over the summer, and then plan a celebration for that. Let's celebrate their efforts. Let's celebrate them being independent learners. So throughout the summer, I'm going to try to get on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and I'll post little tips for some activities, for some summer fun. Also, this is a homeschooling community. So if you have ideas that you would want to share with us, I would love to see your ideas for the fun things that you're doing with your kids this summer. So send me a message or leave a comment, post a video. We want to see all the things that you're doing with your homeschool. This episode of Follow the Leader Homeschool Education is brought to you by Command Family Medicine. Command Family Medicine is part of a cutting-edge movement called Direct Primary Care. They deal directly with their patients to help individuals and families take command of their health through increased access and affordable and transparent cost of care. With locations in Springfield and Branson, Command is serving the Ozarks. It is also brought to you by Nathan Keene with Alpha Realty. Nathan is excited to help you find your perfect home. He will make the real estate process fun, stress-free, and focused on your goals. Whether you're buying or selling, he will guide you every step of the way. He will work to make your dreams a reality. You can find links to Nathan Keene Realty and Command Family Medicine in the show notes. I'm so glad you joined me today. I hope that some of these tips were encouraging. I hope that they were motivating, and I hope that they reminded you why you chose to homeschool in the first place. It's so that we can have more time with our kids, more influence, creating more experiences, and just overall more joy in their education journey. Until next time, happy learning.